Bluesfest, man.
Well, two reasons. Well, first thing I say to people when people ask me that
is it shut up?
Do you remember, I asked people to name the three headliners of the very first year.
Right.
Okay. Buckwheat Zydeco.
Okay.
Clarence Clements.
Okay.
Neither of which are blues artists.
I'm just going to go like, all right, yeah.
And Randy Bachman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which is a blues artist? None of them.
So your answer to why is it still called Bluesfest is we lied to you from the start?
Well, the point is, it started as a popular music festival.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1994, there were no Bonnaroos, there was no Coachella,
right.
There was no ACL. Those festivals, when they came along, really cast a light on this idea of the modern popular music festival. Because when we were starting Bluesfest, it was the jazz festivals across Canada, the major festivals.
Oh yeah, because in the 90s, the jazz festival scene was like a big deal,
oh, yeah.
right?
They were the big festivals.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, well, okay, we want to do something that actually has popular music in it.
Yeah.
And rather than the popular music festival,
right,
Bluesfest.
It's just all blues anyway.
It was the anti-jazz.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of my points, and I would argue that we invested, time, resources into that name.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early 2000s, actually, I talked to the guys at the Montreal Jazz Festival, who I developed a relationship with and was working with, and I said, guys, you're booking Annie Lennox, aren't people saying why you call the Montreal Jazz Festival? And Andre Menard at the time, who was one of the founders, said, yeah, Mark, he says, we've invested millions and millions of dollars in the brand of the Montreal International Jazz Festival. Why would we change the name?
Right. Yeah, because the second you put out a poster that has a different name on it, nobody knows that it's the same thing, but you change the name.
And that really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
People knew Bluesfest.
Yep.
So we're going to call it what?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and really that is the answer, right? After so many years, would you just up and start over again? Because that's essentially what you would do to yourself by switching that name.
And why?
Right? Well,
the people who
there's people in their 50s and 60s who are angry on the internet.
Yeah. The thing that was also interesting, I think a turning point at some point, was that I realized that a lot of your detractors, no matter what you do, are not going to become your supporters.
Right.
So how much attention and how much can you allow them to dictate what you do?
Do you take it personal at all?
I did in the early years, but now I don't. And honestly, I always say to this, to the staff as well, I want to hear from the people who buy our tickets, not the people that don't.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we do a fair amount of surveys now, and we ask a lot of people. This sort of question doesn't come up anymore.
No?
But the people who don't buy tickets or haven't bought for 10 or 20, they want to stir the pot, which is fine. But, the people that support us, don't bother.
Don't forget you can subscribe to our full audio episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your audio podcasts. The full episodes, highlights, and our live off-the-floor performance videos can be found at our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the AVB Podcast. Of course, you'll find links to our incredible sponsors and this week's guest in the description below. The AVB Podcast is part of the Border City Network. Find more great content at bordercitynetwork.com. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.